Welcome to Twin Flame Abundance Live. Today we are going to do again a oracle card reading together with Divine Mother, and the topic is phrased as follows: Nightmare inside Molochs flaming oven. And that asks for a little bit of an explanation. This is actually going to be a very important video for many of you, because we are going to research what it means to have problems in your psychology, your emotional life, your mental life that stem from early childhood occurrences that are not beneficial for your entire being, for relationships, for love, and in particular also for twin flame development of your union, in which you have a relationship with your ultimate lover. If all works well and you do the twin flame inner work, that brings you towards the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union that it's all about. And inside of that, you start to actually build that relationship together. That's how that goes. On all my videos, go to my channel page and watch many more, are about that. Because it's possible. It truly is. It's not a pipe dream. It's just real, normal, grounded reality that comes forward in the reality that you're already living. And then you step into that real dream. That's how that goes. And it goes like that when you do the twin flame inner work. And that works best in the embrace of the teacher and the community. And that needs to be a real one. And that works with guidance too. Anyway, so within that journey of you, many of you will get to know that actually you are experiencing on many parts of the journey that you are having problems in intimacy, in relating, etc. But there's a big but here. You have to understand this. The twin flame journey is not led by psychologizing. Not. N-O-T. Not. Never. Never. Ever. It is led by doing the twin flame inner work, which is not psychologizing. It is doing the key exercise, the key tool that I teach and guide you with. And it is the tools that are derived off of that key tool. So the topic today will sound very psychological to you, and emotional and intimacy and relationship like. And that's what it is. But that's not how you resolve it. You resolve it with the twin flame inner work. That's something you really have to understand. But many of you, I think I say this for the third time, but it's really true, will at one time or another on a journey experience that this is a thing, this is a topic for you. And it might feel very painful, very awful, very destructive. You cannot believe that you somehow are in this kind of an entanglement. Wow. And then you get to see exactly what I'm going to tell you. You get to see, by doing the twin flame inner work, that you're actually unraveling something that starts to come forward, to show itself to you completely, for many of you, before it leaves forever after, because that's what the true twin flame inner work does. It does not psychologize on and on and on and on and on. No, it makes you loosen up these things that are present in your unconscious inner mind, bring them forward, make you experience them completely, and then you let them go and they will never return. That's what the twin flame inner work does. It's important, important differentiation, because it means that you can be completely healed also of this nasty stuff. And what's this nasty stuff? What comes forward when you never expected it? What happens? What is in your unconscious mind, and it comes forward and you experience it and you can't understand that you have this, and it's awful, it's ridiculous, it's beyond belief. For many of you, that is that you have actually been treated in your before your memory starts, in your early childhood and in your childhood and in your teenage years, and maybe even still now, by a parenting culture, let's put it like that, a little bit in a broad sense, but also specifically by your parents, or the ones that brought you up, and that function in a broader culture that has this problem, and says even that this problem is not a problem, it's very positive, you all have to do this. But you will probably get to experience this, that there is a layer inside of you that comes forward that is disgusting, it's awful, it's ridiculous, it's death, it's rapey, it's everything that is just so wrong. It's against everything that is happy and love. And you have to see this in yourself when it comes forward. It may not be exactly for everyone to the same degree, but especially because you come to me, that might be so for you as well, because it was for me. That you have actually been treated by parents in a certain way that imprinted on you as a child in such a way that you thought that it was you, because that's what parenting does. You think that that is you, how you're treated. You think that you deserve it, how you're treated. That's how we all grow up. That's the whole game of growing up. That's normal. That is just how it's supposed to happen. But when you put awful things in there, when you put wrong things in there, when you put upside down things inside of the child, then it starts to believe upside down things. And the whole point of doing the twin flame inner work, remember that the key tool that we do has a turnaround in it. In version 1, it is turning around your emotions into inner feelings of the heart. In version 2, it is turning around more literal the situation that you are upset about the twin flame or the world or someone else. And you turn it to yourself and then heal what you find. It is a turnaround in the key tool. Otherwise, it's not the twin flame inner work when there's not a turnaround. So the turnaround is already like challenging. It's like difficult for people to really execute. That's why we have a community and guidance and all these things, right? But it's necessary, and that's the only twin flame work that's real and that really works. So you already start to see that the reality in twin flame union, in harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state it is all about, that you will get to be inside. That is already like an turnaround of anything that upsets you in the world, in your twin flame, in yourself. That's the definition of twin flame inner work, and it is indeed a turnaround of everything that you find in the world. But then what upsets you about it, right? But then it is not only that, you're even now also finding out that you have been filled in with a nasty turnaround of what is normal, of what is psychology, of what is emotion, of what is connecting, of what is relating. Often by well-meaning parents, because we all know that good intentions lead you to hell, or pave the road to hell, right? Good intentions, good intended parents have filled you potentially with all kinds of extra nasty stuff that now comes forward, and you need to turn all that around. And then you will see and feel everything that is there. And then you will let that go and it will never return. That's how the twin flame inner work works, but you will see it. And what is this nasty stuff? And that is that there are many parents that think that children are beneath them. There are many parents that have contempt for children. They were degraded themselves when they were raised, and now they can get back at that, get revenge by doing that to the new generation of children. There are many parents that actually have a form of childism. That's childism. It's like, well, racism, but then childism. You're not against a race, you're against young children that can't defend themselves and they have no experience with how that works or that they're allowed to do that. They need to actually learn that from you. But you, as a parent, feel the need to talk your child down. Well, they are already smaller than you and unexperienced. So there's absolutely no reason for that, rather upside down, all the way around, that you need to befriend your children so that you, together with them on an equal base, can learn how to be self-respectful in the world. No, because that requires relating, and very many parents don't know what relating is themselves, and that's the reason why you don't know what relating is. So even when you would come in your harmonious twin flame union spiritual vibration, it can be that you still don't know how to relate from human to human. And when you keep on doing the twin flame inner work at that exact place, you not only maintain your harmonious union consciousness state, but you will also start to heal that stuff. But that is also why it's a topic. Because you might just find out that you are in the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union now, in that high vibration, in that union bubble, and you know who the true twin flame is, and everything seems hunky-dory in principle, but then comes the practice and you start to relate to each other, and it turns out that you can't because you don't know what relating even is, because you haven't learned it from your parents. Well, keep on maintaining the vibration and start to do the inner work so that you transform that. That's also why it is said that there can be a huge healing wave after harmonious twin flame union. That's one of the reasons you will do over your attachment history. You know, that's of course what it's also about. But it doesn't really matter, like, in what kind of attachment you have, and let's puzzle that out. It can be interesting, can be insightful. That's psychologizing, and that's okay to a certain extent because that's interesting. It can give insight, but it's not going to heal your twin flame inner work thing that you actually need to do. So you need to do the twin flame inner work. But at the same time, this is the topic of the day. Why do we have like bad attachment history? Why do we feel abandoned? Because we were, right? So this is about the nightmare inside Moloch's flaming oven. And that is the psychological reality that many of you experience, and you're still in it. That's what you experienced as a child, and now you stand on your twin flame journey with that. And not only with that, but even sometimes not only on the twin flame journey with that, but sometimes even in harmonious union with that same thing. You're still in Moloch's oven because you were that as a child, and now you're still there because you've never freed yourself from it. And what is that, Moloch's oven? Well, it is Moloch is a symbol of a false god. It is one of the names that is used for a false god that is offered to have a deal with that god so that you can have favors back, have a good life and whatnot. When you do that with the one and only true God, and there is only one God, it's just the source of everything, of you yourself, then that could work. But when you do that to false gods, it does not work out. And that is universal. So no matter what you call it, It comes from Moloch's flaming oven, comes from a history in which in the Middle East they, or maybe everywhere, who knows, they had that practice. And they did literally put their firstborn baby alive in a flaming oven in the form of this Moloch god or idol. And there was lots of screaming, and the child died. And the god, so called, got his present, right? And you get good luck back. That's the whole idea. Well, this is, of course, absolutely beyond crazy. And it seems like, oh, but we don't do that anymore now, isn't it? Oh, we don't do that. We have such a nice, kind society right now. Well, think about it. That's not true. Well, first of all, I think it is there is really something to say for the fact that this is compared to the widespread practice of abortions, which is like a sterilized version of this. Think about it. But there's an important side note here, or maybe like the main note. I think that's important to understand how it is still here and how it is normalized in our society and sterilized in our society. The same sort of idea, right? But there's a very important main note about that, and that is that the twin flame journey brings you in connection with the real truth. And that is that there is maybe like bad gods and good gods, but that's not how that works. You don't go to the bad gods or to the good gods. You go to the real God, to the oneness, the one source of bad gods and good gods. You go to the one source. And that means also it implies that we're not a body. We're not a soul and a body. I don't know. We'll see. Do we choose Jesus or the devil? I don't know. Well, that's not what this is about. You will enter the realm of beyond that. Will. Otherwise, you can't reach harmonious twin flame union and you can't develop it afterwards. And what you will enter is the truth that you are the spirit yourself. That's how you can manifest your true twin flame union in harmony on earth, in heaven, that is. That's how you can do that, when you enter these realizations fully and completely. So that means that even though I think it's a good understanding to see that the practice of the sterilized environment of abortions is actually very much comparable to the ancient practice of giving your firstborn baby to Moloch in the oven in our ancient past. For the ultra correct understanding, you have to understand this. You are the spirit, not the body. So the baby is also the spirit, not the body. It is the spirit that things depend on, not bodies. But then when the spirit is in order, and that's the healing that we do here, then bodies can come together, twin flame and live in heaven happily ever after. And that's beautiful. That's sacred. And there's a lot to say to like save your body in a sane way. Everyone wants to have a healthy body. And that's your right. That's good. That's fantastic. Do that. But the core is it's a spirit thing, right? That's the core. So, in other words, also, this is not an anti-abortion promotion video or what have you. I just want to bring a couple things forward. And actually, this may still be really like the wrong topic because I want to actually bring this to something else, to another step. So now let's make the step from this ancient practice and the present day practice to this idea. Let's make another step with it. You are experiencing this psychologically. Yes, emotional, mental, psychological. You experience being put in the oven of Moloch, being given as a gift to the wrong God by your parents. It's a very narcissistic act. When we look at psychology, psychiatry, even, and personality disorders, which is psychiatry, you can certainly see that this does indicate narcissistic psychiatric disorders or something along that line, in that spirit, in whatever kind of state that someone is in. And that is truly so. But since, again, psychology disappears on the journey, I also don't make necessarily a point about that. I don't necessarily want to say, like, oh, because this is this psychiatric, this and that, and I'm sure about that. Look it up in this thick book. That's just not really of importance here. But it may be good to understand that that is so. It is crazy. Our societies are very narcissistic. Our social atmosphere is very narcissistic. It's good to realize that. So, you are in Moloch's flaming oven. Psychologically, emotionally, in your experience, because you have been put there in the early relational experience with the parents. It's for very many of you the case. And you're burning there. You were burning there as a young child. Now you're still burning here with the inner child still burning. Psychologically inside the oven. Psychologically fed to the false god. To the god of narcissism. To the god of, well, you name it. Psychopathy. Unfeelingness. No connection. The god of no emotional connection. The god of abandonment, of rejection. The god of lies, untruth. So yeah, then again, we're at like, oh, but yeah, but that sounds like the devil. And then we have like, oh, the devil, and there's Jesus. And like, how do we, I don't know. And let's choose for Jesus and not for the devil. But then you're still in duality. And the truth is always to step beyond that. And that's where spirit is. And that's where the oneness of your true twin flame union truly lives. Only place it lives ever. Which is also where the Christ mind is, actually. It's just also a wrong idea to have like, oh, there's Jesus, there's the devil, and they have a problem with each other or something. That's not how reality even functions, but we think about it like this. But this whole topic could sound like we're now discussing the devil, and no, that's wrong. Yeah, you're right. It's very wrong. But that's not as actually what this is supposed to be about. It is supposed to show you something about, well, that side of the narcissistic liar and thief that with false promises made your parents put you in the oven and you're still burning there. And that's why you're still relationally, because you have been growing up in a relationship with your parents that was like that, you're still relationally in that burning oven, and everything is still surrounding you psychologically, emotionally, as like rejection, abandonment, lies, thieves, being stolen from, no love, no connection, no emotional fulfillment. And even when you would be in harmonious twin flame union, that would still be your experience, because you have to see this for what this is. Burn alive consciously, and then it will leave you. Then it will leave you. Many of you will go through a period in which you feel this. That's why I wanted to talk about that. Not because this is like an obligatory stage of the twin flame journey. It's not a stage at all. It's just something that happens a lot, that people have in their soul, in themselves, in their energy, and it comes forward. You might be shocked. You were like, but isn't this about the ultimate lover? But I feel as though I'm in the oven of Moloch. And you are, probably. Because when this has been put inside you as a child, it it will be projected to the outside by you now, that it's being done to you by whomever that surrounds you, because that's how the ego works. It does project to the outside, and it does feel as though people around you are now throwing you in the oven. So when you're with your twin flame, you're like, my twin flame did that. My twin flame threw me in the oven and rejects me, and it lied to me, and this and that and the other thing. That's logic, because you have that experience inside yourself, and the whole world always mirrors how you stand in things. And the twin flame is the biggest and most precise mirror of them all. So what will the twin flame do? They will reject you, quote unquote. And when you really start to take that seriously as your own inner work and work that out, you will, at the end of the day, come to me and say, yeah, I experienced the flaming oven of Moloch, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. I was put aside with contempt. I was a victim of childism. And I internalized that. And now I project it out. And I feel that burning of me being the scapegoat, of me being the odd one out, of me being alone in the heart, essentially. Connectionless, not being able to relate. And I cannot seem to be able to resolve it. Well, you can. You can. And the only savior is your twin flame inner work. Because twin flame inner work reaches beyond anything, because it goes, what we've also discussed now 3 times already, I think, beyond good and bad. And the twin flame inner work, done correctly and under guidance and in the embrace of the teacher and in the community and whatnot, will produce you suffering it consciously, and then it goes to never return. So you can also congratulate yourself, because now you're on a journey where you can fully feel this through and let go of it. And this is the only place where that happens. This is the only place where you can fully do that. So would this be something like, but isn't that like a multi-generational curse? Well, you could call it that. Isn't this a multi-generational psychology? Yeah, sure, you call it that. Isn't this about psychiatric illnesses? Well, that's fine. Isn't this about my attachment history psychologically? Well, sure. But isn't this about, maybe it's anchored into other lifetimes as well for me? Maybe it's anchored for me into, I don't know what. Doesn't really matter. All the same. It's like being in Moloch's flaming oven. You've been thrown in there, and you still experience yourself, the world, and your relationships, and in particular your twin flame, as that. And as being the victim of that. And you need to somehow get rid of that shizzle completely. Or you won't be able to have a sane and healthy and enjoyable relationship with whomever, and also and particularly with the twin flame, because the twin flame only amplifies when you have such a thing. It's not that with the twin flame it is necessarily like, oh, but with them, that's my ultimate lover, it's gone away. No, the twin flame will mirror that back to you, so that you will finally do that inner work that you so desperately need. Because seen from the spirit core that you are, that came to the world and was born in this family, seen from that perspective out, you were actually choosing to have this experience because it was already in your soul. And when you can consciously suffer this out with a true twin flame inner work, and it will never be returning to you, then you will be forever after released from this. That's the last truth of the matter. But sometimes it takes really some time to feel this out for yourself, because before you can get to that conclusion for yourself, indeed, in practice. And that's understandable. I do understand that. This goes a little quick, well, we talk now half an hour about this stuff, but I understand even that is too quick to fully accept, like, oh, but I as a soul, I wanted this. Yeah, you did, because choosing to be in a lifetime where you A, experience that, B, want to be with your true twin flame, and that together is actually the point. A and B together, that's the whole thing. This is the trick. You have experienced that to have a big leverage, to have a good motivation to want to release yourself of this shit, so that you can make that huge leap to your harmonious twin flame union and be together with your true twin flame forever after in harmony. And that's why you got this big problem, so to speak, so that you would be able, by means of contrast and having the motivation to get rid of this enormous psychological calamity, that you would finally make that leap to find the real twin flame inner work and to enter the harmonious union space, keep at it, keep on healing, and be with your true twin flame forever after. A relationship that purifies itself more and more and more of the inability to relate. And that's where you do cement yourself in the most beautiful ever relationship. So you go, as it were, from the conscious experience of this awful thing to the most beautiful, purified, eternal relationship with them. That's for many of you the case. So I just wanted to be sort of clear about that right now. I think for some of you, that's just really something that you need to hear and understand, that is really the case for you. And that was for me as well. So you're not alone, and it's okay. Look, and the other option is for you to numb yourself out and do as if that's normal and okay. Not be happy, not be with your true twin flame as well. And do as if you're happy. That's what, for instance, other family members of mine also do. Well, that's not my choice. It would never be my choice. Well, I can say that now. But I also was like them once. Until I consciously, millimeter before millimeter, step by step, freed myself of that nonsense, that lie, that ridiculous lie. The fact that you are so holy as creation, that you are a true twin flame, together in like a triangle with the divine, relating intimately, eternally. That very holiness is so holy. It's so sacred, and it's truly you. Nothing ever came between you and that holiness. You're still that. You've always been that. You've never been anything else. You start to recognize that and realize that. And often that can only be done and realized when you have contrast experiences. And then you can step away from that contrast. You can open your mind towards the divine mind, and then it starts to happen for you. That's the play of dark and light that helps you educationally to make the right decision for the one and only thing. So what does it lead to be in a nightmare inside Moloch's flaming oven? There's so many things that can be there. Well, the inability to relate, no feeling of love, feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, being rejected all the time, rejecting yourself, rejecting the world, twin flame rejecting you. So many things, endless things. Incredible psychological pain. You can't make sense of things. On and on and on and on, in all so many different ways. Doesn't matter what the way is actually. Because you have been put psychologically inside Moloch's oven, Moloch's flaming oven by your parents. Well, you need to, in your personal development, differentiate. You need to individuate from being that child of your parents to becoming the child under God. That emancipates itself out of the relationship with that parent that thought that they would get something out of this false relationship with a false God. They offered you to the narcissistic God that said, this child is not being allowed to individuate. This child is not being allowed to be a child under God. This child is not allowed to be someone individual outside of me, which also means denial of your unique soul. But you individuate yourself outside of that relationship with the parent, and you start to grow up again under God as an autonomous being, as a child of the divine. That's what happens there. That's like the process that happens there. And you feel the flames even more so when you really go through this process, because now you understand how much these flames are here. It's a beautiful process. It's really your savior. So yeah, we are going to do a reading about are we? Yeah, we are. So I just have brought a whole bunch of oracle decks here, and we're going to look what I feel guided to pick, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So I feel like I'm looking at the Oracle of Change, in which the shapeshifters are the ones that are just like child and animal. And they can shapeshift from child to animal and back. And they're mythological themes. Orca magic. The Akashic Chronicles are being reopened. Very interesting. So this may look like that somewhere in your soul's history, which is the Akashic Chronicles, this is present in your soul. And you can find that back, where that is, what that is. Not in this life, maybe in a former life. And you will start to understand the meaning of it. And then you can process it. Such a majestic animal, the orca. Isn't that amazing? She also has them on her dress. But it's also funny that she has this orca like in this bubble. It's like a baby orca in the oven, or in the what's it called, in the womb, because it already was imprinted in you when you were in the womb. That's when it started. That's where the parents were already imprinting it onto you. their expectations and ideas and mythologies and false gods and that sort of thing. So maybe you start to connect with yourself, the inner child inside yourself, how you can feel it also intestinally inside yourself, like there's the inner child. And you connect again with the inner child and everything that it missed and everything that it needed and still needs. And you start to give that to the inner child. You start to love the inner child from conception on, in a new way, in a new light, in a new love, in twin flame love, in divine light. And then the Akashic Chronicles will become opened in a new way. It's like the twin flame layer of the Akashic Chronicles will become opened. And now you start to remember the truth of things. Now you start to remember the love between you and your true twin flame. Now you start to remember how there was always this love in any life that you might remember. Now you start to remember that you have this continuous flow together through all kinds of lifetimes, woven together by love itself. And that is still here. It's still so. And you can now relate that to what happens now. And you can choose to bring that forward, all that life that you already shared, to bring that forward again now, in this life now, in a new way, in a fresh way, where you honor each other's inner child and your own inner child, where you honor what will grow out of that and out of the relationship together. And you step into this new, fresh incarnation together and see how you can love each other instead of letting each other burn.
Je moet eerst de iPhone ontgrendelen.
Thank you. My phone was starting to talk back. And it said in Dutch, you first need to unlock your phone. So that's a sign. So I think that says that before you're there, you need to unlock this situation, just exactly what it is, before you can step together into that new blessed relationship inside of your harmonious twin flame union bubble. That is the vibration that you need to first get in order for yourself. That's your main goal right now. It really is. No matter what other people say, that's your goal right now. And then you need to unlock this, what the topic is. You need to unlock your phone, your communication, your connection, your relationship, your ability to relate. Connect that. Open it. You need to unlock it. Oh, that was the word, unlock. Unlock your ability to relate to the deepest level in you. For real. And permanently. And for many, that will be a task. Will be really like, wow. Now things really start to be like, oh my gosh. Look at me remembering all these awful burning. I'm in Molochs flaming oven experiences. Like the psychological suffering can be ginormous. And that's becoming conscious now so that you can step out of that, so that you can heal out of that. But first, you need to be conscious of the fact that that is so. So that can be unpleasant in a way, but it comes forward for you to be, for you to heal that. And again, in the twin flame journey, that is the place and the only place where you can heal that. Under guidance, in relationship that with the teacher, etc. So, all right, so we got a card from the vampire deck. I mean, vampires, it seems like a good theme for a deck with cards for the nightmare inside Moloch's flaming oven. But here we go. This card came out: religion, canon, rules. Okay, so there might be influences of religion in your Moloch problem. And sometimes it's like seemingly the bad side of things, like because religion said these things, my parents did this and that was actually me psychologically entering Moloch's flaming oven. But did you know that the esoteric inner side of any religion is actually exactly what this union journey here is? It's maybe sometimes, stuffed up by all these outside things that came on top of it, and bad experiences from individual people or families or family histories. But inside of it is always the esoteric side of things, in which there is also a true spiritual path, which is just only updated. And that's when we get the twin flame journey. The true twin flame teaching is a top part that can be placed on any religion or spiritual, true spiritual tradition, and it can be upgraded and updated to the present day, where God is in rolling out consciousness to the leading edge of that. That's what twin flames are, and the possibility to be with your true twin flame now instead of at the end of your journey. That's what that is. That's what I pass on. Not in my YouTube videos. I can't give you what you need in my YouTube videos. Did you know that? You do have to come close, or you do have to come into the one-on-one relationship, right? Or the coaching relationship. We'll also start a group real soon. That will be I like this card. I just wanted to show it again. The group starts real soon. It will be a group year course, and it will be called Twin Flame Abundance Now. We'll start that real soon. It'll be awesome. So in a sense, union, the twin flame union, harmonious twin flame union, is like a new crown on old religions, and it will undo any Moloch flaming oven or other thing that you may have experienced as a stale traditional religious rule that has caused psychological turmoil in you, or the full history of your entire family, or the full history of your soul, or both. So the word religion is not, this card is not necessarily all about the wrong thing. Religion also has or spirituality, or has a development over time. There are more forms and they morph over time. And now we are in a time in which the crown of creation comes in on top of any spirituality or religion. And that's the twin flame union idea. That's just definitively what that is. And I'm keeping at it. because that's how I've been initiated, that's how I've been taught, that's exactly what I pass on, and nothing less. I've worked with the new Christ Masters on Earth to figure that out, and now we work in spirit together. Before that happened in my life, I was already a spiritual teacher, and now I'm a spiritual teacher with the crown of creation, with the twin flame teaching in me integrated as well. So now we go to the oracle cards of the rose. Second bloom, the second chance. It's never too late. New possibilities. Well, isn't that exactly what we were talking about? It's like the crown on any spiritual journey. The second bloom, or the main bloom still comes. Still, the main bloom is still to come, people. This is good news. This is also why they called, I think, like in Christianity, and they always said like the good news Bible. You see, it's like good news. You have a new chance. And no matter what you think about religion, that concept is here when we speak about true twin flames. So let's go a little bit deeper with this religious side and just ask the Egyptian cards, because that is also like a history of this religion of the West that just like goes into that memory of Egypt. Sun Eye, mystery school of the right eye of Horus, the male path. Put a talent or quality of yourself more in the light. Show yourself. New knowledge comes to you in the form of a book or a course, meditation idea. Connect yourself via the top of your head with the cosmic wisdom present. All right. I don't know. That just seems so synchronistic again. I'm just at awe about where this reading is leading me. I'm just a little bit in awe about that. So I represent the mystery school of the left eye of Horus, the female path. But I work together with the Christ Masters, and they represent the mystery school of the right eye of Horus, the male path. And that's what this is, the right eye of Horus, the male path, the sun god, the sun eye. The other one is that would be the card of, that is inside of this, that would be the card of the moon eye. Yeah, I really think that card is called like that indeed. That's exactly what we talk about. I'm just stunned because I hadn't thought that we would be talking about this, that me talking about the nightmare inside Moloch's flaming oven, about having contempt for children and childism, and how that works through your psychology, and how you're in this psychological distress, and how you will experience that you will need to get rid of this psychological distress inside of your twin flame union development at some point or another. So I thought maybe we're going to talk about like what this emotional psychological thing is, more depth in it, or more examples of it, or how the phases through which you go to get rid of it and whatnot. But it's really going, I mean, like Divine Mother helps me with the cards, right? So it's really going with like the Akashic Chronicles, like your universal memory of your soul, the spirituality and religion itself, and the second bloom, which is also just what spirituality is, because you're already born, and this was also about being born and whatnot. You're already born in the physical, but now like the core of you beyond the physical world will be born, and that is what religion is, and that is your second bloom. that is, like, well, maybe what they call waking up, but I think that the idea of you need to wake up has many downsides to it, because people use it in other kinds of meanings that are very shallow and not it. But we've concluded that about a couple of things here now already, so maybe that also doesn't matter by now. Second bloom is what spiritual development is. It is for all of us the second bloom. It's like with twin flame union, you invite your second bloom. You invite, like, okay, I'm already physically here. I have maybe physically seen sexual relationships I had or something, in which I tried that out a little bit, but I'm still before my second bloom, my true bloom, in my harmonious twin flame union, where it really happens, where everything is free of lies and thieves and burning psychology, and where it's about true love, it's about divine love, and that will be my second bloom, which is actually the main bloom. So that's like a definition of what spirituality really is. And spirituality just means the truth of what you are, but then brought forward in your real life. That's also what twin flame harmonious union and live that in your daily life really means. It just means being what you essentially are, being human, but then to the full extent. And that's called spirituality, because not everyone does it. And it is standing on spirit as the building block, as your foundation, actually, I should say, instead of standing on physicality as the foundation. That's the second bloom. And then we had the card of the sun eye, which is the divine masculine Christ Masters mystery school that says all of this, that leads this, that brings this teaching of the true twin flame forward now in time. That's why we live now in time, to free ourselves from any burning inside Moloch's flaming oven and go to where true love is, true relationship is, true divine connection happens. And there's only one place where that happens. Well, that's under the divine. And you just get your true twin flame for free in that development too. So it's like all about this spiritual development thing. So any spiritual development leads from Moloch's oven to opening yourself. And at the end of the day, strangely enough, your Moloch's oven experience of psychological pain that is unbearable is a good one, because now you're in a psychologically unbearable place, so that you have enough contrast to be able to truly have the motivation to dive into the other thing, but not as an idea, not as like, oh, that's the new trend, oh, it's a good idea, oh, I think I already experienced it, oh, I know who he is, he has such beautiful curly hair, but as the true thing that is grounded and with a true twin flame. And that is not much talked about on the internet, even though many think that. Ooh, well, I was like, let's do something with the angel answers, but this began to fly right away. It was like flying, so that was a yes, and it is the yes card. I was like, maybe from the angel answers, often we get like, are we on the right way with this story? I think we are. There's like a bird. It's like the Holy Spirit or something. Like, yeah, Holy Spirit inspires us correctly. Don't be mistaken. Many people truly need to become ready. You need to become ready, made ready by the world, by Moloch's oven, the pressure of psychological distress of the world makes you ready to finally rip yourself open and throw away this old, dusty meat jacket and understand that there's only one true life. That's that of spirit. Thanks for the likes. You see, when we start to interact, things start to be fun. I have a lot of weeks now in which I have not done a lot with interaction, and that is just because I hardly got any. But the whole point is that we have interactions. That's why I do this live. Otherwise, I can just as well not do it. So, for sure, write something in the comment field. We just last summer I started this to do this weekly, and I had a whole program with like asking questions and doing a little healing together too for 20 minutes at the end, and news from the community and whatnot. I still tend to, do all these things a little bit, but I had a whole program, and I was like, let's see if people would really start to interact. But that hardly happened. So, and then I changed the format to card readings live, which is very interesting because we really get into a lot of depth right now in what happens in these weeks. And maybe I'll change it up again. You never know what we'll do next, I think we are going to go to a change again. So now we had the cards of the, what are they called? Abundance, of course. Divine abundance. Yeah. Clearing. Yeah, it's a clearing, what we're talking about. You're clearing so that you transform your psychological distress situation in Moloch's flaming oven. That is actually the whole world is behaving like Moloch's flaming oven, right? And there's a huge clearing that happens. That's what the twin flame journey really is. It's a huge clearing that you need, purification of the heart that you need, so that from the heart comes forward an entirely new three-dimensional experience of the world that comes out of your heart. Instead of you being the victim of the projection of the world. I'm in Moloch's oven. Okay. The text is, as true offering arises, it becomes easy to let go. You start to trust that more will always arrive. You shift from mine to God's. Such freedom. It's the freedom to be with God. That's where you end up. Oh yeah, do this one. Let's do this one. This is cool. The Native American deck. I have memories of being the clan mother of the Peace Clan. That's why I have them. But I still always look in the booklet to read about these cards. 4. Yeah, what is this? Coyote? Let's have a look in the booklet. Right. Card 4. Wolf, it's a wolf. Struggle. Wolf is a complex spirit, and his meaning varies from tribe to tribe. He can be seen as positive, a strong warrior, an excellent communicator, and he can be viewed as a negative force as well, along with the hare, as a psychopomp. Psychopompos, that is traditionally in mythology, that's Hermes in Greek mythology. And that is the spirit that is working in between the living and the dead, but also like in between God and the people. It's like an in between force that helps you from a body experience to a pure spirit experience. And what happens in between, that's what they call psychopompos, which is Greek. Yeah, it's Greek, right? It's Greek. So, and that means psyche, so that's your psyche, which is like your spirit. Pompos, which means we're going to get it. We're going to take it from somewhere else and bring it to you. Bring the spirit to you. Okay, so it's a psychopompos of this Native American symbology. In fact, in one myth, Wolf was the first creature to experience death. Because of his communication skills, his initiation in death, and his connection with the heavens, baying at the moon, he is often seen as a civilizing spirit. Wolf knows that life isn't always easy, and the knife represents the concept of need. There's a knife here. It is. There's a knife at the here at the top, as well as the more extreme ideas such as cruelty. Message: challenges and struggles often remove things from our life. They also bestow gifts. Struggle, difficulty, obstacles, communication, leadership, difficult lessons, initiation, spiritual connection. I think this is exactly what we have been talking about. There is like a double meaning to the idea of the Molochs flaming oven and being in your psychological distress inside of it. Devoid of connection, not being able to relate. And that is, well, that's narcissism, right? You miss God. That's what that is. And all the communication and the softness and the emotional maturity that belongs to that relationship with God first. First, the relationship with God, then the rest comes to you. You are able to grow and mature. Otherwise, you can't. You just can't. You'll just stay a narcissist. It's true. It's true. So our societies are very devoid of God. So, yeah, very narcissistic societies. I was actually saying that the experience of being in Moloch's oven. Hi, Phoenix Rising. Happy Saturday to you. Saturday is already almost over here. It's like dark outside. I live in Europe. You maybe not. So interesting, right? The idea of the wolf being good and bad, that's what we talked about. Moloch's flaming oven. It's like good and bad. It's like, apparently that's what we found here when we came on Earth. Phoenix Rising is in New York City. Yeah. I'm in Arnhem, the Netherlands, in Europe. So it's good and bad, and then we go to our true twin flame through that experience, because it is bad, and then we wanted to have that experience as souls, to have contrast, to go to our true twin flames, and to have enough of a reason to want to go that journey. I mean, you do have to, move yourself a little bit to the repaired relationship with the divine in your heart. It does take some effort. And you have to maintain that too. I take effort on a daily basis. I pay money for that. Everybody does that has a successful, harmonious twin flame union consciousness state in which they are now building their actual relationship with their true twin flame, invests in that with effort and money every day. So it does need something, which is true for everything. On the physical level, that's true for everything. Just right now, you're putting your effort and your time and your money into something else that serves the ego and Moloch's oven and society as is. That also costs you money and effort and time every day. But for twin flame development, going to the true twin flame union, you put that same effort and money and time and resources and connections, and you reallocate them towards the true twin flame work. and you keep at it. You devote yourself to it. That's how the success comes. It's truly so. That's how I got my success. That's how my clients got their success. And it is the end. This is the golden tarot. I just shuffled and this was the card upside down. 9 of Swords reversed. This is the end of your distress. This is the end of your being psychologically, emotionally alone, rejected, abandoned, and completely distressed from that experience. And this is the end of that because it's overturned. You reallocate all your time, money, resources, connections. You change what you do up by whatever you did, and you bring that away, and then you put in the true twin flame inner work with the key tool, with the community, with the teacher. And that's how you get the end of your distress. And it's also the end of the distress of the entire society. And that's what Divine Mother wants to say something about. So let's look in Divine Mother's Oracle deck. Okay, this one. Our Lady of the Dark Mysteries. Divine Mother knows that things can look double. Things can look like, oh, is it good or bad? It's both. How is that possible? Yeah, we go beyond. That's the crowning twin flame teaching of spirituality. Crowns everything. It's beyond it. And Divine Mother knows that we need these dark mysteries, that we need darkness too. Card 6. I have many names and faces, but behind those names and faces, I am your loving mother always. I come to you in light and darkness, through joy, and even, my beloved, through loss and tragedy. I am always your loving mother. I'm seeking you, reaching for you, calling you to me. If you can know this, then great peace and spiritual power will be yours. And you can assist me in enlightening this world from fear and distrust into a place of compassion and divine radiance unveiled. Remember me always. I am your loving mother, always. Beautiful, right? She's always here, no matter what you experience. So, crystals, why not? From the Life Purpose deck. I think she just came with crystals. Okay. And we need, I think, I prepared the angel deck because I thought this is like such a horrific topic, actually. We need an angel. So now we're going to see if there is an angel card that Divine Mother will point out to me from an angel that wants to assist us. Angel 12. Oh, that seems like a very sweet, welcoming angel. A welcoming bow to you, which is in total contrast to the idea of, well, being disrespected as a child, as the inner child in Moloch's oven. The contemptuous treatment of the inner child. But what she does is bowing to you. My first spiritual teacher bowed to all of us. He really did that as a part of the schooling days that he shared with us. He bowed to all of us for our souls. This angel is also seeming to do that. That's beautiful. God the refuge. Ehehas. That's how you need to say it. Mediumship and interpretation of dreams is what the angel stands for. Protection from the resentment of others. Ah, that's a good one. Inner strength, peace, sleep, refuge, calm, and rest. Meditation and love of solitude, cleanliness and tidiness, regaining and renewing energy, balance between intimate life and social life, calming aggression and destructive tendencies, personal life examination, positive attitude and discretion. It does seem a very, very fitting angel as a counterforce to the experience of being in Moloch's flaming oven. Very respectful, very caring, very motherly. Just being respectful to you, bowing for your soul, for the true value that you have and that everyone has, which is that you have the divine inside of you that expresses as you and your twin flame, being one at the core and being living as a couple on earth. And you can't bow for anything less because everybody has it inside of them. And when we can respect that, then it can start to come forward and start to bloom. Your second bloom. So these are the, what are they called? Dragon Fae. And we have the elder, I wanted to say again, because I think we got it a couple of times more last weeks. Someone wants to give you wise counsel. Okay. So there's a wise dragon fae that is like maybe like whispering in my ear, and I whisper it in your ear now. I always get this idea that that's really what this card means. It comes forward now for at least for the third time. That's what that is. Okay. So let's get some letters and numbers and symbols and smiley faces. And just for fun, to see what comes out. Let me just, I don't know. Okay, I have some. 6 or 9. A, B, C, no, that's a joke. S, A, M. That's it. I was like, it's almost ASMR, but we don't have an R. Maybe that seemed like being whispered in my ear by the elder of the dragon fae, the energetic dragons. Yeah. Well, this is a sort of a Dutch word. It's like an old-fashioned Dutch word of being together. SAAM. I'm sorry, I haven't found yet a way to really present this in the right way. But anyway, so that's some sort of Dutch, which is my mother tongue, and which means like together. It means like connecting. And we're talking about the reparation of relationship, of connecting, right? I see another Dutch word of my mother tongue, and it says the boss. The boss. Oops, well. Anyway, it's in Dutch, baas. So, what does that mean? Well, God is the boss. And I see that because we have the 9, and that is the number of the 9 energy points energy system that I developed together with Divine Mother over the last decade, which is the healing system I work with as an elongation and a support for the central key tool for Twin Flame inner work. So God is the boss of the energy healing. God is the boss of life, of your union, of everything. Eventually, no matter if you have been placed in the psychological flaming oven of Moloch, God is the boss nevertheless, and you can step away from that by that very fact. Because God is the end boss. Like your 9 energy fields as connected to the divine are the boss. I don't know. I think it's because we double A. I just see all the time Dutch words. It's because that's my mother tongue. Usually I see English words as well. But now I see this word, MAAS. So that's Maas in the Netherlands. That is one of the grand rivers that goes through our little country. Personally, I live at the River Rhine. But honestly, the Maas is only a couple steps away as well. I live in between both. No, I live between the Rhine and the Waal, and then we have the Maas. Geez, there are many rivers here in my back garden. There really are. Because this country is really like a river ending of the river ending of Europe, something like that. Anyway, so I'm seeing this big river, and I think that this whole river of twin flame development ends up with God being the boss, the end boss, and yeah, and you're in this grand river, and you're just on your way towards the big ocean, and that's where heaven starts. And this experience of being inside Moloch's flaming oven only happens when you're in the river stage. And then you become conscious of it, and then it falls away from your journey. And you enter the grand ocean of heaven on earth, living together with your true twin flame. And that's the place where I am personally now in my experience, in my journey. Having been a twin flame teacher, passer on of this for a handful of years as well now, I have 100% success rate because everyone gets their crucial from Divine Mother notes, tips to to go to their true twin flame, their final words of where to find them, etc. And you can go to your actual harmonious union consciousness state here. And the quickest I have seen is in 4 months and 4 days. 4 people have completely completed that as well. So personally, I'm in the harmonious twin flame union consciousness state since March 2020. And ever since, I have been experiencing an enormous healing wave that touched everything in my life. And now I'm at the beginning of really building with my true twin flame. Yeah. And spiritually moving from purgatory to heaven. I have a video 2 videos ago on my channel in the tab that is called lives, because this is a live too. 2 videos ago, I talk about All Souls Day. And in that one, I talk about this experience. that I'm going through right now. More if you want to know. So we're going to close this off with one of the cards of my own card deck about the union and mission journey. Very precise, extremely correct. And let's get a card. Please, can you? Yeah, this one is moving enormously. So we'll get that from service or product to value / money. So that is sometimes sounding as if it's only about mission, but it's also about union. So we're going from whatever we find in our journey to the true value. It's about putting your hand in the ocean, in the water. That's what the visual is. I'm redesigning the visuals now as well. There's a lot of work going on here in the background. I'm going to read from the booklet on my screen. Transforming incomprehension. Maybe that has something to do with the experience that this whole life was about today, to be inside Molochs' flaming oven, and to transform yourself out of that in the direction of being with your true twin flame in harmonious union. The value of your contribution can sometimes be very invisible and indiscernible in physical sense for people that do not sense it yet because they live in a more coarse perception. Well, that's also the case. What I just was talking about was a little bit about myself, to just give you the state of being again of where I am and what I'm doing in my daily life. And people think that because I'm not presented with my true twin flame next to me in my video until now, that I must not know what it's about. But it's exactly the other way around. All these other people that you're looking at in these videos are not with their true, most of them, many of them are not even with their true twin flame at all. And they're completely bullshitting you. And you think they're so kind, but that's not kind at all. There's a huge problem in twin flame land on YouTube, etc. So just that you know it. This is where incomprehension can occur, and you could be incredible because it's invisible. This is where incomprehension can occur, and you could be incredibly distraught and out of whack by this. Your hand reaches deep in the ocean of union, and when you share from that place, then people that do not perceive until that depth may even call you a fraud in the worst case scenario, or in a less awful one for not charitable. This is all not true. When you are genuinely on the path, do the key tool for twin flame inner work, that is mandatory, regularly. Go deeper as a result, see your life change, go through initiations, and then await the results with patience in your feelings and orientation of wisdom, then you do not need to second guess yourself for what you have. For that, you have something of value to offer. This may mean that people, even the twin flame, falls away. However, every touch they got from you in that process can be later a reason for them to return. Later, in the sense that you do not need to know when that will be. It is, however, law that the twin flame returns when you do the real inner work in this lifetime or after death or in the next lifetime. That doesn't matter, because you now tap into life eternal anyway. Your union value, however, is not depending on that and stands autonomously on the path as a shining entity in itself. This radiation will draw the true twin flame to you. When it feels like it takes a long time, then consider increasing the inner work that you do and the individual practices performed, the spiritual practices performed, because they will tune you into a timeless atmosphere where you don't think about that aspect anymore of time. Your value can thus come out and truly breathe even when your timing seems to be so-called late. Take this on board when you do twin flame inner work. Choose the eternal perspective. And you'll also get rid of the psychological being in Moloch's flaming oven for eternally afterwards. That's also the eternal perspective. Do not be afraid if your value seemingly repels people. Even the twin flame, you sense what many unconsciously are searching for, and you will become a magnet for union in others, and in particular your twin flame. You will find your way through the thick bushes of incomprehension and stand strong as a pool of fertile water. The universe always honors this. Yeah, that's what the universe honors. The universe does not honor Moloch's flaming oven psychologically, except when you honor it. So stop that. Start honoring the true twin flame. Start honoring union, even though it is seemingly more invisible than quote unquote Moloch's flaming oven or whatever that signifies in your social world or society. That is how you get to heaven on earth and the enjoyment of being with your true twin flame. I hope this helped and I hope this was inspirational. Monday, upcoming, November 18, 2024, we start the Love Game. It's a social media game, social media challenge, but it also plays for a lot on my social media as well. It's very, very many inspirational messages. Go there, go to the description box below and come join me on my social media. But there's also a lot behind the scenes. You need to leave your name and your email address in the link that I will put in the description below. But now we talk about it also in the, of course, in the chat here. Put your name and your email address here and you can play with us this game, because 5 days long for free you get the workbooks that you can download, and you are going to inspire yourself with what love actually is, what divine love really is, and how that plays a role in your twin flame journey. You're going to learn some new stuff about that, inspire yourself, go deeper into the journey, and it's all for free. Yeah, you can just do that if you want to. Last time I'm saying it because, it is closing. The doors are closing, and then we start on Monday with the Start event, which is a live video in the dedicated Facebook group where you can also take part with all participants to be there together. And later in the week, we have also there the live Zoom meeting with all of us so that you can share what you're going through, etc. It's going to be awesome. And you're very welcome. All right. See you in all kinds of other experiences and opportunities. If I don't see you on Monday in the Love Game, much love from Petra.